Okay, last week we were talking about some design stuff and how things change over time and as players' perceptions as well as developer perceptions. And so this week, kind of diving into something that was really controversial internally at the moment we did it, and then just no one ever thought about it again. And that was during the creation of Left 4 Dead 2 Versus, was the zombie role and what the zombie role perceived, right? Meaning, in the world for player characters, we tried to be careful about that. The way we funneled you through a map always felt natural. You never had invisible walls. You had some reason to not, that you couldn't go somewhere, be it a fence, be it a pile of burning debris. God, there's debris everywhere, right? Like those are the tricks to use. And they're pretty simple and you kind of tune them out after a while as a player. But now you want to give the zombies more opportunity to travel the world. You want to give them a broader space that they can explore so that they can set up and attack you from. And so with that, we opened up some of the map and we get a shot like this in No Mercy or this, right? And these show you parts of the map behind the scenes, essentially, right? We don't gussy this up. There's actually a barrier here, so you can't go any further. And we don't make any fictional reason why. We just say that's the way it is. And that felt really bad at first. That felt really not part of kind of the design aesthetic. But equally, we had these ladders that the zombies used, right, to climb up everywhere. And we wanted to have those, and they wanted to be able to get to places. So either we're going to need to do the work to have this map be fully contained everywhere. And that's, back old Source 1. That's super expensive. We don't have the memory to do it. We're not going to be able to do it. Or we're just going to say it doesn't matter. And it sounds bizarre to say, but often the right design choices, it doesn't matter. Now, people will go nuts. I saw somebody on Reddit posting and complaining in Far Cry 6 that the seatbelt buckles were not correct for the kind of car and the year, and that it should have been metal instead of plastic or something. I'm like, oh my God, who cares? But people care, but they don't. They will ignore all of that if they're having a fun time and a good time, right? In the movies, they often call this the icebox moment, where you don't think about the break in logic until you go to the fridge that night later to get a midnight snack, and you're like, wait a minute, that made no sense, right? You can do that in games as well. You can kind of float it. Like, why can the zombies see places? Why does the world look like? Who cares? Who cares? You're having fun, right? And so actually for Left 4 Dead, the reason why I've been thinking about this is because, for Anacrusis is we had somebody come and ask about, hey, I can fall out of the world in a few places in the maps. Are you going to fix these? And the answer is kind of no, but here's why. So in the Anacrusis, what we learned from Left 4 Dead was if you make these zombie ladders where people can only climb to certain places, players know to look there. They know to look that they're going to choose to spawn in those locations. Even if they're good or bad, they're going to choose to spawn there. We wanted to open that up for the Anacrusis and give you more variety of where you could spawn so that it could be more surprising for players. And so with that, we allow you to do kind of like a super jump when you're in alien mode. And the super jump allows you to get up into places that you wouldn't normally be able to get to and be able to see things. So we tried to encapsulate all of that inside and make, blockers and stuff so you couldn't get to weird places and just say, hey, there's a blocker here. There's no fiction. We're okay with that. But there's some places you can jump and jump and jump, and you can get to a place where you can just jump out of the map. So what happens when that happens? Nothing. You just respawn. Like, that's it. If you actually catch yourself falling, you can hit E and you'll spawn back into another location on the map, or you just respawn. That's fine. Like, we would rather give you that freedom of movement. And what you see then is you see players spawn often in the same places sometimes because they're really good places. They're really difficult places. They're good places to get back at the humans. And so they can do that. And that's a way better way of finding those places than instead of trying to institute them and say, as a designer, you can only do it here. Instead, we offer it that you could do it everywhere. I'll be honest, that's one other thing we learned is, so I wanted to get these screenshots today really quickly. And I had to load up a mutation to be able to do them because it's not part of what is default in the game. the game does not allow you to defaultly play against against the zombies. There's a whole host of how that got to be there. I'm never happy that that's how it happened, but there we are. But so for the Anacrusis, we actually built that in, so you can play against the bots and you can just load them up. And we purposely chose the first map, which is kind of like our No Mercy in a sense of it's the most played, as the default for training. But you can actually play them that way against others, or you can play 1v1. And you can play one, like this is the things we learned. Like when I said we learned weird things that aren't obvious and you can't put on the back of the box, we learned for versus. Sometimes you just want to play against your friend. Now, sometimes you want to play where the bots fill in. So the bots are playing the other side, they're playing not only the survivor side, which you're used to, but they're also playing the alien side, which is just co-op normally, but you're one of the aliens now. But you can also do it where you have no other bots. So it is just literally you versus your friend. And yeah, if you get pinned, if you get gooed, it's over. And it becomes this really heightened kind of contest. It's fun to do, right? We wanted to put those kind of weird things in and kind of build those in. And then, learning from that of what we would do and kind of how we would approach it. But yeah, I just find it funny that, I think 14, 15 years later, something that really, really was a lot of hair pulling and a lot of like worry that, oh my God, they're going to see these ugly parts of the map and this is going to be horrible and we shouldn't do this. And we just have this weird blocker in the map and that's so horrible. And it just didn't matter, because sometimes it just doesn't matter. And that is the best design choice you can make.